bringing it all together. In the last few sections, you explored how land is described, organized, and managed both nationally and specifically in Arizona. You began with the idea that a legal description must uniquely identify a parcel of land, so a surveyor, court, or title company can find that same property on the ground at any time in the future. You then moved through the three primary national systems of legal description: metes and bounds, the rectangular survey system, and the recorded plat, or lot and block method. Building on that national foundation, you learned how Arizona overlays its own structure of land ownership and management, including state trust lands and special geologic issues such as earth fissures. This section gives you a snapshot of all those pieces working together, so you can see how they form one coherent picture for a practicing real estate salesperson. National methods of legal description. At the national level, legal descriptions use different systems, depending on history, geography, and parcel size. Metes and bounds is the oldest method, brought from English common law, and still dominant in the original colonies and some older areas. It uses distances, directions, and monuments, starting at a point of beginning and returning there to enclose a parcel. The rectangular survey system, or government survey, divides much of the Midwest and West into townships and sections tied to principal meridians and baselines. Recorded plat, or lot, and block descriptions are common in platted subdivisions and urban areas, where the subdivision map defines lots and blocks. No matter which system is used, the legal description must allow a competent surveyor to relocate boundaries with precision. In modern practice, a single Arizona parcel may be linked to more than one of these systems, such as a subdivision lot inside a section described by the rectangular survey. The rectangular survey system in practice. The rectangular survey system organizes land into a predictable grid. It begins with principal meridians running north-south and baselines running east-west. From these references, 6-mile-wide strips called ranges and tiers are laid out. Where a range and a tier intersect, they form a township that measures 6 miles by 6 miles and contains 36 one-mile square sections. Each section contains 640 acres. Sections are numbered in a serpentine pattern that begins in the northeast corner of the township with Section 1 and ends in the southeast corner with Section 36. Parcels are often described as fractional parts of these sections, such as halves, quarters, and quarters. Because a full section is 640 acres, a quarter section is 160 acres. A quarter of a quarter is 40 acres, and a quarter of a quarter of a quarter is 10 acres. To find acreage quickly, you multiply the denominators of the fractional parts and divide 640 by the result. This system gives the country a consistent way to express large areas of land. Arizona's survey framework and state trust land. Arizona sits largely within the Gila and Salt River baseline and meridian, whose initial point lies near Avondale, with some land in the northeast, described from the Navajo meridian and baseline. From these points, Arizona is divided into townships and sections, just like other rectangular survey states. But Arizona adds another important layer. Much of its land is held in state trust. At statehood, specific sections in each township were granted to Arizona to be held in trust for named beneficiaries, including K-12 public schools and several public institutions. The Arizona State Land Department manages approximately 9.2 million acres of state trust land, acting as trustee rather than ordinary owner. This means the department must generate revenue from leases, sales, and rights of way for the benefit of the trust beneficiaries. Following strict rules in the Enabling Act, the Arizona Constitution, and state statutes, a parcel's legal description in Arizona may therefore tell you not only where it is located in a township and section, but also that it is trust land subject to special rules about how it can be leased or sold. Lot and block, metes and bounds, and multiple methods on one parcel. While the rectangular survey system is ideal for large rural tracts, it is less convenient for small lots in cities and master planned communities. Arizona subdivisions typically use the lot and block system. A surveyor prepares a subdivision plat showing lots, blocks, streets, and easements, and the plat is recorded. Individual parcels are then described simply as Lot X, Block Y of a named subdivision, with a reference to the recorded plat. Behind that simple description lies the township and section framework. At the same time, irregular parcels, older rural tracts, and certain exceptions within larger parcels are often described by metes and bounds, which follow natural features, roads, or fence lines. As a result, a single parcel may be identified by a combination of methods. For example, a deed might describe land as being in the northeast quarter of a section, then refer to a metes and bounds boundary line, and finally tie into a recorded plat for a small cluster of lots carved from the larger area. Reading these layered descriptions is a key real estate skill. Physical land conditions, elevation, datums, and earth fissures. Legal descriptions are not only about horizontal boundaries. In Arizona, elevation matters for air rights, subsurface rights, and condominium ownership. Surveyors use datums and benchmarks to define vertical positions. A datum is a reference level, historically tied to sea level, from which elevations are measured. Benchmarks, such as brass caps set in concrete, provide local elevation references that can be used to define upper floor condominium units, underground garages, or tunnels in terms of height above or below the datum. At the same time, Arizona's physical land is affected by phenomena such as land subsidence and earth fissures caused by groundwater withdrawal. These fissures appear in certain arid valleys across several counties and can damage roads, canals, pipelines, and structures. They are mapped by the Arizona Geological Survey and shown within townships and sections. This means that understanding land descriptions helps you locate not only property boundaries, but also potential hazards that might affect those properties. Review summary. This snapshot section ties together the key ideas you have learned about land descriptions and Arizona land management. Nationally, legal descriptions rely on metes and bounds, the rectangular survey system, and the recorded plat method. The rectangular system uses principal meridians and baselines to divide land into townships, 36 1-mile square sections, and fractional parts of sections that can be converted into acreages using 640 acres as the base. In Arizona, this grid is anchored by the Gila and Salt River baseline and meridian, with an additional meridian and baseline in the northeast for part of the Navajo Nation. You saw how Arizona's land ownership structure overlays this grid. State trust lands are held for specific beneficiaries and managed by the Arizona State Land Department, which must follow strict rules when leasing or selling those lands. Urban and suburban properties are often described with the lot and block system, while rural and irregular parcels may use metes and bounds in combination with rectangular survey references. You learned that legal descriptions can be layered, with more than one method appearing on the same parcel. Finally, you saw how physical land conditions, such as elevation and earth fissures, intersect with legal descriptions, reminding you that these text descriptions correspond to real ground, real structures, and real risks. Together, these concepts give you a working framework for reading, explaining, and working with land descriptions in Arizona real estate practice. Discussion. Why is it helpful for an Arizona salesperson to recognize when a parcel's description combines rectangular survey fractions with lot and block or metes and bounds language? Suggested answer. Recognizing a combination of systems tells the salesperson that the parcel has both a large-scale location within a section and a more detailed boundary description. This can signal that the parcel has a long or complex history of splits and conveyances. It also alerts the salesperson that multiple records, such as subdivision plats and older survey descriptions, may need to be reviewed during due diligence. Being aware of this helps the salesperson explain the description to clients and recognize when a surveyor or title company should be consulted. How does knowing about earth fissures and subsidence change the way you think about a good legal description in Arizona? Suggested answer. A good legal description does more than locate a parcel abstractly. In areas with known fissures and subsidence, the legal description's township and section information can be cross-checked against fissure maps and hazard data. This helps the salesperson identify whether additional investigation is needed. Understanding fissures encourages the salesperson to see the legal description as a tool for risk management, not just a formality, and to recommend appropriate inspections, engineering advice, or disclosures. Closing remarks. Legal descriptions and Arizona land management might seem technical at first glance, but they are at the heart of every real estate transaction. They determine what is being bought or sold, who has authority over it, and what risks may be present. By mastering the rectangular survey system, understanding how Arizona's state trust land is structured, recognizing how lot and block and meets and bounds are used, and staying aware of physical hazards like earth fissures, you equip yourself to guide clients with confidence. These concepts will keep appearing as you study contracts, title work, subdivision law, zoning, water rights, and environmental issues. The more fluent you become in the language of land descriptions, the more effective you will be as a real estate professional in Arizona's diverse and dynamic market.